Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Taligan. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. Today on Sorcery in Action, we are going to be doing a demonstration on how to create a tulpa using the pendulum self-hypnosis method. If you are not familiar with the pendulum self-hypnosis method, you will want to go to the pendulum self-hypnosis playlist on my channel, and that will get you up to speed on how to use the method if you want to try to use this particular method of creating a tulpa. Now, before you create the tulpa, you will want to have its name, its astral form, and its tasks firmly entrenched within your mind. And by its astral form, I don't just mean a visualization of how it appears. You also want to take into account how it smells, what it feels like, how it behaves, what it's doing when it's not performing its tasks. Every detail you can imagine needs to be put into that concept, because the more cohesive and detailed that form is, the stronger and more efficient your tulpa will be. Okay, now my tulpa's name will be Thorn, and his task will be to remind me to do things that I have forgotten to do, so that I don't be forgetful. He will appear as a tiny little thorn that sits here on my shoulder. It looks like a little brown rose thorn with little googly eyes and a little pair of feet. Looks similar to the little paperclip that used to ask if we needed help, for those of you that are old enough to remember that. Okay, so with that in mind, and the tulpa and his image firmly entrenched into my own mind as to what I want to create, I will then lift the pendulum up and begin with the phrase, "When the pendulum begins to turn, the self-hypnosis program will open." And then I allow the pendulum to turn. You remember from previous videos on the playlist, I am not doing this consciously, simply allowing my subconscious mind to do it for me. As the pendulum turns, the self-hypnosis program will open. And allow it to turn until you feel yourself entering into the self-hypnosis state. Once you have reached that state, you will then say, "When the self-hypnosis pendulum stops, the program will be open." Okay. The next statement will then be, "When the pendulum turns, the tulpa creation program will open." Then you allow the pendulum once again to turn and open the tulpa creation program. And at this point, you will be going farther into the gnosis of self-hypnosis. Allow the pendulum to turn until you feel yourself flipping into the state where you are prepared to visualize and create your tulpa. When you're in that state, you will say, "When the pendulum stops, the tulpa creation program will be open." Okay, now that the program is open, you will want to use the name of the tulpa. So at this point, the next statement will be, "When the pendulum turns, the tulpa creation program will initiate the thorn program." And as the pendulum turns, you will want to visualize the form of your tulpa. So in this case, I'm imagining, as I said before, a thorn sitting on my shoulder with little feet and googly eyes, and a nice long prick on the end of his thorn so that he can poke me on the side of my shoulder when I'm forgetting to do what I need to do. And you'll want to do this one for a while, visualizing the energy coming from the pendulum, going out into your tulpa and charging the tulpa and creating him as the pendulum turns. When you're prepared for the next step, you will then say, "As the pendulum stops, the tulpa creation program will close and initialize." The next statement will then be, as the pendulum turns, Thorn will now awaken and go about his tasks. As this turns, you want to then again visualize your Tulpa coming to life and going about the activities that you intend him to do. So in this case, as I'm doing this, I'm visualizing Thorn looking through a small little notebook, checking through my daily activities, and seeing what it is that I still need to do today. When you feel that the Tulpa has initialized and actually gone about his tasks, you will then say, when the pendulum stops, the self-hypnosis program will close, and I will return to normal, feeling open, free, clear, and ready to proceed with my day. Okay, so that will be that for this episode of Sorcery in Action. Don't forget to join us on Tuesday, where I will go more in depth on the theory behind an egregore. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. Until then, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.